The USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, estimates that I need to spend anywhere from about $270 to $440 per week to feed my family of 5. The USDA puts out these numbers each month where they estimate what it would cost for individuals or families to purchase groceries to feed themselves for a week or a month. And it depends on the ages and the genders of the people in the household and their budgeting level, because there are 3 different levels of budget on that document. The liberal budget, which is the high, the moderate budget, which is in the middle of the road, and then a low budget, which is pretty self-explanatory. So in my household, there is an 11-year-old child, and they don't separate boys or girls until they get to be 12. So I have an 11-year-old son, so an 11-year-old child. I have a 12-year-old girl, and I have a 15-year-old girl. There is a 42-year-old woman, that's me, and a 43-year-old man, my husband. So underneath the budget columns, low budget, moderate budget, high budget, I would find the numbers that match up with the ages and genders of the people in my household. I would add those all together. And then there's also a little fine print down at the bottom that tells you how you are supposed to adjust. If you only have one person in your household, you're supposed to actually add a little bit more. Because I have 5 people in my household, I'm actually supposed to subtract 5% from the total. And I guess that's because food gets a little bit cheaper as you buy more of it and as you buy things in bulk. So the latest set of numbers that I could get a hold of at the time I was planning this video in January were the numbers from November. And I have been looking at these charts for years. They usually are a couple of months behind because, they've got to gather all of the data and then put it into a chart and get it posted. So given those parameters, on the low budget, it's suggested that my household would need $301.72. On the moderate budget, my household would need $361.19, and that's per week. And on the liberal or high budget, it would be $443.27 per week. That's the estimate that the USDA is putting together for a household my size, given the prices of food across the country right now. Now, there is a 4th budget level. It's actually on a separate document from the others, and it's called the thrifty budget. This is what they estimate is the lowest amount of money you can spend given the size of your household and the makeup of your household, and still feed everybody nutritious, filling meals. So on the thrifty budget, the nifty thrifty budget, it is recommended that my household would need $273.41 per week to eat well-balanced, thrifty meals for our family of 5. Now, a couple of caveats about this. It does say that it's making these budget recommendations with the idea that all meals will be made and or consumed at home. So 7 days worth of breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. But I think a lot of American households, certainly mine, don't consume all of their meals at home or from home. In fact, we have a separate line item in our budget called recreation, and that is where we put money that we're going to spend on things like eating out or like takeout. So if I am using this as my food budget, I would probably siphon off just a little bit of it so that I could have, that takeout meal once a week. But just so you know, that's what the fine print says, that it's supposed to be for groceries for an entire week, never eating out, never getting fast food, never getting meals delivered, so on and so forth. Now, I have always also assumed when I've been working with these budgets and making videos around this concept that this is for food consumables, that it does not include things like laundry detergent or dishwasher tabs. I'm not even sure that it would include non-food consumables that are used in food preparation, like foil or Ziploc bags or the coffee filters that I picked up today. But you guys can chime in below, leave me a comment and let me know what you think. In my household budget, we have always put consumables, save for those recreation items like sodas and any kind of alcohol or eating out. We've always considered all consumables to be the grocery budget, which would include cleaning products and toiletries and foil and parchment paper. And for the record, I'm not saying that either way is right or wrong. I just know that some people pull out those non-food items and have a different budget for them. And some people consider grocery budget to be everything that you would purchase at a grocery store, including those non-food items. In this case, I think the USDA intends for this to be solely just food, but I could be wrong. Now, I have done videos on these budgets in the past where I have taken that thrifty budget and I have gone grocery shopping and then shown you exactly what I purchased and exactly what I made for the week, the breakfast, lunches, dinners, and snacks that I made for the week for my family on that budget. And I do intend to do something like that coming up here in the next month. So make sure that you're subscribed if that's something that you're interested in. If you want like a very specific plan, here's the budget, here's what I bought, here's what I made with it. But today, I am sitting in my car talking with you guys about all of this because I'm at my local Walmart neighborhood market. I'm going to pick up the groceries for this week. And I plan to show you what I purchased and tell you our meal plan for the week, the meals that I'm making with the things that I purchased. And I thought it would be interesting to see where I would fall on that little budget spectrum if I'm not really thinking about it. I'm always thinking about how to stretch that grocery budget. But if I'm not like trying to stick to a specific budget, I'm just looking at the week and thinking about the meals that need to be made and the stuff that needs to be stocked in my family kitchen. Where would we fall on this spectrum of grocery budgets? Low, medium, high, thrifty? I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to tell you. I am going to work on getting all of this stuff unloaded so I can show you what I purchased, and then I'll take you through the meal plan for the week so I can show you what I'm making with it and maybe give you some ideas, including a new recipe that we tried out a few weeks back that we liked so much that my family asked me to make it again. So I thought I would make it this week so that I could show you how I did that and share that recipe with you. Future Mindy popping in here to say that my family enjoys a piece of garlic toast, an artisan bread, some biscuits with our dinner. We're big fans of bread products, but you're not going to see a lot of that in today's grocery haul because we still have several items from our most recent Wild Grain box, and they are sponsoring today's video, so I thought it would be a great time to tell you about them. If you have a little wiggle room in your budget to have artisan breads, pastries, and other items delivered directly to your doorstep from Wild Grain. Wild Grain is the first of its kind. It partners with small bakers and pasta makers across the country to bring you a subscription box full of bake from frozen breads, pastries, and fresh pastas. With Wild Grain, you get to customize your box from their menu of items every month. In addition to their most popular items, they're often adding seasonal items as well to choose from. One of my favorites when I'm ordering a Wild Grain box are the demi baguettes. They come 2 to a package, and one of those baguettes is just the right size for my family of 5. So it's really easy to just bake that up. My favorite way is to put it on a piece of foil and sprinkle just a little bit of water on top of it and then fold it up to make kind of a foil packet so that it sort of steams inside of there, pop it into my oven, and then we have fresh baked bread to go along with lots of different dinners that I make throughout the week. And another favorite, I've already mentioned this the last few times I've worked with Wild Grain, but their croissants are to die for. They are absolutely delicious, especially with a little bit of honey butter spread over the top when they come out of the oven. Right now, you can get $30 off your first box with Wild Grain plus free croissants for life. Remember those delicious croissants that I mentioned? They're worth mentioning and showing again right here. You can get those for free for the life of your subscription right now, plus $30 off your first box when you follow the link in the description box below and you use my code Mindy30. And Wild Grain does offer gluten-free and plant-based options. One of the things I love about my Wild Grain subscription is that I can pause it, I can reschedule or skip deliveries, or I can order extra things on the weeks when I'm going to receive deliveries. So if you want to try it out, again, you can get $30 off your first order plus free croissants for life from Wild Grain when you follow the link in the description box and use my code Mindy30. And thank you again to Wild Grain for making delicious breads, pastries, and pastas, and for sponsoring today's video. Here is the meat for this week. I have some chicken tenders, some chicken breast tenderloins, a little over a pound of those, and then also a couple pounds of chicken drumsticks, and then a few pounds of just plain chicken breast. So lots of chicken on the menu this week. I also have some mild Italian sausage links. I'm going to make a sheet pan meal with those. And then this is an interesting story. This has never happened to me before, but I did order a package of 3 1-pound packages of lean ground beef. There's supposed to be 3 packages here. When I pulled it out, there were only 2. I searched all through my order. I searched through my car, through the back seat of the car, and I can see that there's a place where the other one is supposed to be attached and it's not there. So I went into the app and I requested a refund for the thing that's missing, and that's supposed to be being added back to my account because this was not the product that I ordered, or that it's damaged. So they're supposed to, make up the difference or refund my purchase because this is supposed to be 3 1-pound packages and there's only 2. Fortunately, I actually only need 2 pounds this week for the meal plan that I'm making. I just buy it in those packages of 3 1-pound packages because the price is pretty good, and I was just gonna stick the extra package in the freezer. Always good to have a little extra meat in the freezer, so I don't need that extra 1 pound, but that's never happened to me before, actually. I've had to request refunds for like produce that's been damaged a few times here and there, but I've never had like a product that's missing part of it. Has that ever happened to you? Produce purchases. I have a package of romaine hearts. So easy to make salads from these, and they actually keep a little longer than other lettuces I find in the refrigerator. Some cucumbers, some apples, some bananas, a couple of tomatoes, some limes, a red onion. This is cilantro, and underneath here are some jalapenos, some baby carrots, also some lemons. Frozen veggies. I have some frozen green beans. I like the long, thin ones. A couple bags of riced cauliflower, easy to cook in the microwave, and I throw this into all kinds of meals just to kind of bulk it up and get an extra serving of veggies in there for me. And then a big bag of frozen veggies that I can roast and use alongside meals this week. I meant to get the kind that's just the broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots, but I ended up with this one that has the squash thrown in too, so that's okay. We'll still eat it. We still have a couple of open bottles of dressing to use up for our salads this week, but we were out of like toppings for our salads. So I'm restocking like the crunchy toppings and the cheeses for salads. I've got some wonton strips and some of these sweetened cranberries and honey roasted almonds, some feta cheese, and then some Parmesan cheese we can shred up to top our salads with. I don't need to, usually I don't need to restock all of the breakfast and lunch items for our menu every single week. There's usually a few things left over from previous weeks, and then I just kind of add to it. For instance, I still have half a loaf of bread and some lunch meat for sandwiches, but I was out of cheese slices, and the kids asked for tortillas because they like to make their sandwiches on tortillas. So we still have some cereal in the pantry, but we were out of milk, so I picked up a gallon of milk. The yogurts can be for breakfast or for lunch or for a snack. Typically they'll pack them in their lunch, but sometimes they'll eat them for breakfast too. I purchased some of these in the small boxes last week, and they're all already gone. Everybody in the family likes them. The Nature Valley Protein Chewy Bars. There's about 10 grams of protein per bar. This is the variety pack. And I picked up some frozen pancakes. They're going to love that. I don't pick these up very often, and the mood struck this week, so I decided to get some pancakes. They like to put peanut butter on those and have them in the morning just like they would like an Eggo waffle. As I stated, we needed sliced cheese for sandwiches. I got some string cheeses. My kids are brand loyal. They do not care for the Walmart brand in string cheese, but they do like this Frigo brand. My son has been asking for tortillas. He likes to make little roll-ups with pepperonis and cream cheese and tortillas. They also asked for some chicken nuggets. My kids will throw these into the air fryer in the morning and then pack them in their lunch. My husband's birthday was last week, and he requested charcuterie. And so I still have some crackers and snacky things left over from his charcuterie that the kids can use to round out their lunches and snacks, but I did pick up a box of graham crackers. And that should supplement us pretty well for a lot of breakfasts and lunches this week. I am also going to make a few lunch preps this week. I'm going to throw some of that chicken breast into the slow cooker with a little taco seasoning and cook it until I can shred it up. And then I'm going to use some tomatoes and lime and jalapeno and red onion and add it to some corn and black beans, a little cilantro, salt and pepper, and make some like black bean salsa. And make up some rice. I like to mix mine up with cauliflower rice too for a little added extra veggie. And I'll do like some really easy chicken burrito bowls as a lunch prep this week. These two items, the applesauce pouches and the cereal bars, I picked these up specifically for a swim meet that we have this week. We need really easy snacks. The pouches are really, really good because they just squeeze them out, suck the applesauce out of them. Really great like in between race snack, and the same goes for the fruit and grain bars. Now, if you are working in a standard family kitchen, you are probably not replacing every single spice and every single seasoning and condiment and things from your baking shelf like flour and sugar every single grocery haul. I'm usually spending anywhere from $5 to $10, maybe $20 on a big week, restocking some of those kitchen staples. This week, however, I didn't need to restock any of my spices. I didn't need any oils. I was actually trying to find some things to throw into this grocery haul so I could make that point. I did need to buy eggs and butter, and those two things together were almost $9 of my grocery haul. And then I also picked up a box of fudge brownie mix because there is a brownie upgrade that I'm going to try this week. Now, the rest of the things that you see here, canned goods, little cheese, some pasta, these are things that I purchased to go along with the meat and veggies that I bought to make dinners this week. So let me tell you what's on the meal plan for dinner this week. Oh, also I forgot, I did buy coffee filters for our little clever pour over system that we have going on. So I don't know if that would count towards a grocery budget or not. I think they were just a couple dollars. We have one night this week when Kenna has an out of town basketball game. I say out of town, it's just the next town over. We're getting to those years when we're gonna have to travel just a little bit for school sports. And on that night, I need something that I can make early in the day in the crock pot and keep warm all evening. So we're just having my dad's taco soup. I've talked about this so many times. I will just pop the recipe up on screen. It's something that can be made on the stove and then kept warm, or if you're leaving the house like I am, I'm gonna put it in the crock pot and keep it warm. So that's what we're having one night this week. And I'm also gonna use the crock pot this week to make chicken drumsticks, to make chicken legs. It's really easy. Just throw them in there with whatever seasonings you want. I'll probably just use some salt, pepper, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder. Cook them low and slow, and then if I want to crisp them up, I'll just put them on like a cookie sheet under the broiler for a minute or two. And I took the easy route. We're just gonna have those already made up mashed potatoes from Bob Evans. I'm just gonna heat those up, and then some kind of veggie side, either frozen veggies that I've roasted or a salad, maybe some bread or toast, and that'll be dinner another night. One night, I am going to roast those sausages on a foil-lined sheet pan with some vegetables. And I had picked up just some Knorr noodles, like some chicken flavored noodles to cook up on the stove alongside with that. But I'm remembering that I have some pasta from Wild Grain in the freezer. So I think I'm going to cook that up and just add like a little Parmesan, salt and pepper, a little butter, make like some buttered noodles from that to go along with it. But I also have these to use for that meal just in case too. One of my favorite meals that my mom made when I was growing up in a family of 5 children, was Parmesan crusted chicken breast. Basically, she would marinate the chicken breast in a dressing, an Italian dressing like this one that I purchased, all day. And then she would roll the chicken breast or the chicken cutlets. I got chicken tenders, little chicken tenders for this recipe. She would roll them in breadcrumbs and Parmesan and then bake them until they were done. And she always served this with rice-a-roni and green beans. So that's what we're gonna have one night for dinner this week too. And then the last dinner this week is the one I mentioned earlier that I wanna share with you. It is for a creamy beef cavatappi. I will leave the original recipe linked in the description box below, and I'll show you now how I'm making that. For this recipe, you will need a pound of cavatappi. If you cannot find this, I would recommend using a fusilli. Those are the little twisties, or like a rigatoni or a penne. Some kind of shortcut pasta. 1 pound of ground beef, about half of an onion chopped, and some minced garlic. The original recipe calls for 8 ounces of tomato sauce. And the first time I made it, I just used the rest of a jar of pasta sauce that I have, but I don't have any tomato sauce on hand. So what I'm gonna do is use about 3 tablespoons of this tomato paste. And then I'm going to use 3 cups of beef broth that I make from Better Than Bouillon instead of the 2.5 that I used last time. So I'm going to increase the beef broth. Salt and pepper to taste. I'm going to use a teaspoon each of basil and thyme. And in the end, we're going to stir in a cup of mozzarella cheese and a cup of Parmesan cheese and 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. Full disclosure, friends. We are going to switch over to voiceover style on this little cooking tutorial because I just really wanted to have this football game on in the kitchen while I cooked on the night that I made this dinner. So I've got a big pot of salted water to boil, and I'm going to cook my full pound of cavatappi just to al dente and then drain it and set it aside. And I'm browning up my ground beef here, and I usually go ahead and just brown up my onions along with the ground beef because they'll saute in the fat that the beef renders. And then once those onions start to get nice and soft and the beef is almost cooked, I just throw in a little bit of minced garlic at the end to cook alongside it. Then I'm going to be adding my tomato paste. I'm using probably 2 or 3 tablespoons, and then I'm using about 3 tablespoons, not tablespoons, teaspoons of this Better Than Bouillon. My seasonings are going in here, and I used 1 teaspoon each of basil, thyme, and salt, and then I also put in a little bit of cracked black pepper. To that, I am adding 3 cups of water. And while that is coming to a simmer, I'm gonna go ahead and get to shredding up my cheese. I need about 1 cup each of Parmesan and mozzarella cheese. I think I've used cheddar cheese in this as well. I've made it a couple of times now. I really think different kinds of cheeses would be okay, but definitely throw in that Parm. I'm gonna add 1 cup of heavy cream, and just heat that up very slowly. And then I will stir in my cooked pasta and my cheese. Sometimes I like to cook my pasta along with the sauces. This is not one of those instances. Actually, I went ahead and just cooked the pasta separately and then added it in at the end. So once that is incorporated and heated through, it's just throwing it on the plate with whatever veggies I have. I totally intended to make a salad to go along with this tonight, and I just kind of got lazy about washing all the salad greens, and I threw those green beans in the microwave instead. But this is absolutely delicious. Give it a try. I'll leave the original recipe linked in the description box below. Before tax, my whole grocery order that I picked up at Walmart today cost me $199.30. So if you have tax on groceries where you live, you would have to factor that in. I am also going to add the cost of 1 bag of apples and 1 bag of clementines because I picked those up a few days ago when I was shopping for my husband's birthday dinner, and we'll definitely use those this week. So that, along with the groceries I showed you for meals this week, would bring my total cost to $209.25. Now, I have found that on any given week, 5 dinners, sometimes even just 4 dinners is plenty. If I make more than that, we're gonna end up with a whole lot of leftovers. We usually have at least one night when we kind of eat leftovers or fend for ourselves, just use up things that we have on hand. And then, as I stated, we have one night where we either get takeout, we go out to eat, maybe we're eating at the church or we're eating at a school function or something like that. And I know this isn't a perfect experiment because this puts me in the thrifty budget category, or even if you factor in the night that we go out to eat, we'd probably still be in like the low, maybe the moderate budget category. But also, I know that some families from week to week are not going to be spending exactly the same amount. Sometimes we have things that we're using, and so we only have to supplement with the extra things we need to make up the difference. And those weeks when we spend less might allow us to spend a little more on the weeks when there were good sales, or when we want to go to Sam's and stock up on meat in bulk or something like that. As I hinted at earlier in the video, I do have a video in the queue for next month where I use that thrifty budget and I come up with a week's worth of groceries and a meal plan for my family of 5 using just those things and just regular pantry staples, seasonings and spices and stuff, and not like going to the freezer or going to the pantry for a stockpile item. So if you are interested in that, again, keep an eye out for it. Make sure that you're subscribed, turn those notifications on, because I should be putting that video out sometime in February. I want to thank Wild Grain again for sponsoring today's video. If you enjoy the luxury of having high quality artisan breads delivered right to your door that can go from the freezer straight into the oven, then you can check them out. They're linked in the description box below. YouTube thinks you might want to watch one of these videos next. If so, I'll see you there.